If you want to avoid wasting time and money on dog training that doesn't give you the results that you're looking for, stick around because in this video, we will discuss the most common approaches to getting your dog trained and the most serious drawbacks with each of them. Hello, my name is Sam Ivy, and I'm here hoping to give you an entirely new perspective on the topic of dog training. The mission of our whole team here at Sam Ivy Canine is to empower you to build a better relationship with your dog and to become the leader your dog needs you to be. Now, if you're having problems with your dog, click the link in the description below and you can schedule a free 1-hour online consultation to speak with one of our canine behavioral consultants. Now, this video is the first in our What No One Else is Telling You About Dog Training series. To get the maximum benefit, I would recommend that you watch all the videos in sequential order. First, we will talk about the different types of dog training programs you typically have access to when you're looking for help. The most common choices are group classes, board and train, or private in-home training. In the end, I will give you my conclusion of how best to proceed, and I suspect you will be quite surprised to hear what it is. Now, if you're like many people, you may be struggling with your dog's behavior. So you may be asking questions like, how do I get my dog to stop jumping on my guests, or barking, or even lunging at other dogs on walks? Or why is he still peeing or pooing in my house? And how can I make it stop? Or even though we did obedience training, she's still chewing on the furniture and digging up the backyard. Shouldn't this be under control by now? Is there any hope for these behaviors? How long do I have to wait before this gets better? Nothing is working. And if you're dealing with behaviors such as serious aggression, for example, these type of questions become even more pressing. Listen, I know that these behaviors are very frustrating and at times even embarrassing. In this series, we will answer all of these questions and more. And I know that after watching this series, you will see a clear path forward for you and your dog. Now, I've been training dogs for well over 30 years, and throughout this time, I have worked with literally thousands of people and their dogs, and I've consistently evaluated my own approach, and I never stop learning. I've asked myself questions such as, what really works in training dogs? What doesn't work? What should I leave in this process, and what should be left out? This is exactly why I created this series. It is a relentlessly pragmatic approach that focuses on what really works in changing your dog's behavior for the better. But first, let's talk about what doesn't work and why. Then we'll get to the solution. Traditionally, there are a few different options when you go to get your dog trained. First is to take your dog to a dog training class, one of those big box pet stores. The problem with this type of training is there is way too much distraction. Dogs are barking, jumping, acting out. There's people walking by with their dogs, other employees interacting with customers and restocking shelves. It's a hot mess. In this setting, your dog may effectively learn a few new tricks like sit, stare, come. But taken as a whole, the training doesn't hold. When you get home, your dogs are typically still jumping, still pulling, still biting, and still chewing. And if you're thinking your dog failed the training or she's not smart enough, I'm here to tell you your dog did not fail and she is definitely smart enough. It is the training that failed you, not the other way around. Another option is to ship the dog off to one of those board and train doggy boot camp scenarios, anywhere from a few weeks to a few months. Problems inherent with this approach can be numerous. First of all, you have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. Regardless of how reputable the owner may be, when you are absent, you don't know who is handling your dog, and you have no control over what is happening to your dog. Second, under the best case scenario, it's a trainer training your dog. He or she is leading your dog, not you. This is the reason why all too often this type of training does not have lasting impact. After training is done, within a few short weeks or even days, the dog tends to revert back to unwanted behaviors. Yes, he or she may have learned some obedience, but the jumping, the pulling, destructive behavior, or worse, the aggressive behaviors are not under control. And oftentimes, your dog comes back worse than when he left. And the final challenge with this approach is the dog is stuck in a completely foreign environment without you, his owner, for weeks or even months. This can be very traumatic, very stressful for certain dogs, and they may even stop eating and or drinking. This is not to say it's the fault of the board and train, but remember the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. In a foreign and stressful environment, the last thing some dogs want to do is eat or drink. When they return from these facilities, often they have lost weight, they're disoriented, and are even depressed. Now, these consequences are unintended and certainly unexpected, but they do happen. And you're left confronting how much time and money was wasted when this approach fails. Now, a more recent approach in dog training is in-person training, where the trainer comes into your home. And although this approach does have some advantages over the previous approaches, in many ways, there are notable drawbacks here too. The first and most glaring challenge is accessibility. If you're located far enough outside a typical major metropolitan area, in-home training is just not possible. You see, most of the trainers are located within city limits and can't come to you. So you're either out of luck or you're forced to consider shipping your dog away somewhere. Although you don't have the distraction associated with group classes, for example, you do have the distraction of the trainer's presence in your home. Depending on your dog's temperament, this is a real problem that you're forced to overcome every single time the trainer arrives at your house. With certain dogs, significant amounts of time is wasted just trying to get him or her to calm down over the trainer's presence. Remember, distraction is the number one challenge when starting training. And finally, if you're someone who doesn't really like the idea of a stranger coming into your home, you're not alone. Later in this video, we will solve that problem as well. Question: how does your dog react when a stranger comes into your home? Do they get excited? Are they anxious? Or even maybe aggressive? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your feedback. In order to deliver sustainable results in training your dog, it has to be you who has to be in control over your dog, not some trainer. In order to do that, you need to learn how to become a proper handler. Now, that typically is a term reserved for the professionals like law enforcement or military. However, there is no reason why, with some basic fundamental skills, an average person such as yourself cannot learn how to become a proper handler and have real control over their dog's behavior. We teach this every single day. We turn you into novice dog handlers, giving you the knowledge and the know-how to gain control over your dog's behavior once and for all. And that control is now sustainable over the life of the dog. It's not some temporary fix. The key to success is not how much your dog knows, but how much your dog respects you and follows your commands. Dog training at its core is a relationship thing. Real training is about building that relationship with your dog that, like any good parent-child relationship, is based on love and trust, but is backed up by a healthy amount of respect. That's the key. Without the respect, the relationship falls apart. And this leads to the full range of poor behaviors that you may be struggling with your dog. You know, even though we at Sam Ivy Canine are often called dog trainers by profession, we don't actually train your dog. We teach you how to lead and train your own dog. We always put our clients in charge day one, minute one. That's what's missing. By teaching you and not your dog, we help you build this new, better relationship with your dog right out of the gate. And since you will get all the know-how, you will be able to maintain the relationship and training for the life of the dog. So, to achieve optimal results, a few things must be in place. Number one, the dog needs to be in a low or no distraction environment at the start of training, which means no group classes. Two, the dog needs to be in a familiar, comfortable environment to learn in. So, shipping him away is not an option. And three, it needs to be you leading and training your dog, not some trainer. So, what's the solution? How do we achieve all this? Virtual training. Meeting one of our trainers online removes the need to waste time driving to some training facility. No need to have some stranger come into your home to train your dog. And it doesn't matter where you're located, in the city or rural, wherever you are, there we are. Virtual online training is not just super convenient, it is also super effective because it eliminates all distractions. It allows your dog to learn in her normal environment and focus on you and you alone. If you feel that this information has provided you with helpful insights as to a new way of looking at getting your dog trained, then consider liking and subscribing to my channel. And when you do, hit that little bell and you'll be notified whenever new content is posted. In the next video, we will explore in much more detail why traditional dog training just doesn't work and what to do about it.